Hey, what's going on, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I want to kind of talk about the Utah Jazz and the Dallas Mavericks game three matchup. I believe that was game three. That's this series is well, it depends on how you look at it. You know what I mean? Since I don't have any real skin in this game, I'm looking at the situation objectively as a fan, and I'm saying the Dallas Mavericks look great without Luka Doncic. They match up just fine with this Utah Jazz team. They're hitting the three repeatedly. They're playing solid defense. They're rebounding the ball. Everything is going completely fine. So if you're a Dallas fan, you're happy and you're entertained. There's nothing wrong right now. Worst case scenario was losing Luka Doncic, and you face that, and your team looks great without him. So you feel better about your team now than you probably did going into these playoffs. Things are looking bright. Utah, on the other hand, oh my God, Utah is a train wreck, and that's coming from a Laker fan. Utah is a train wreck. I don't know what kind of defense Quinn Snyder has this team running out there, but Dallas shot so many three-point shots in their house tonight, and they just had spacing no spacing out there at all in terms of what they were doing. They made 9 threes themselves, only attempted 28. Now, if you follow me, you know we've talked about Utah a few times on this channel. Not very much, but a few times. And what we always say about Utah is that their system is predicated on shooting the three. They launch a lot of threes and they hit a lot of threes, and that's how they get the bulk of their offense. Everything else is just Rudy Gay getting offensive rebounds and Donovan Mitchell breaking people down and dunking on their heads, which he did twice in the third quarter back to back. Awesome. Saw a lot of nice dunks from Utah, but that was about all we really saw from Utah that was nice. Their defense was awful. They bricked everything they shot, pretty much. And it was just a bad show. Horrible show at home for their fans. Horrible. And their fans showed up to play. You know, they were excited, wanting to look for things to root for, and Utah gave them big plays, highlights rather, but the defensive I'm not going to say effort. I don't think that was the only issue. Yes, were guys not giving you the effort? No, they weren't playing their hardest. But it was how they were lined up in the first place. I mean, you were giving three-point shooters so much room. Guys closing out ever so slowly. And look, it is a well-known fact that certain centers cannot play on a spread floor. If a team has nothing but shooters out there, stretch five, stretch everything, everybody's a shooter, basically, then you can't have Rudy on the floor. He needs to be removed from the game. You have to sit him in those situations. It is not a knock on who he is as a player. It's not a knock on his contract. It's not you strategizing poorly defensively. You have to just understand that he's not going to close out quick enough. Yes, he's tall enough to contest three-point shots, but he's not fast enough to get out there. And that hurts you every single time. Dallas has it down pat. I got to apologize. Well, here's the thing. I said Davis Bertans' contract was horrid and Dallas needs to get rid of it immediately. And I actually believe that. However, sometimes when you catch a player with a bad contract, but he fits what it is that you do, then it doesn't really matter because he's going to play up that value because you're going to use him to his strengths and only those strengths. Now, Washington wasn't able to get anything out of Davis Bertans. He hit a three here or there, but the majority of the time he was just being abused defensively. But that's not what we see in Dallas. What we see in Dallas is them running him in specific actions that allow him to catch the ball in his spots. And we know that he's one of the best pure three-point shooters in the world. That's not to be even that. No one's gonna even argue with that. It's just what else can he do? And shoot, push come to shove, he's found himself in Dallas, and they've put him to work. They know exactly what to do with him, and in this office, he looks amazing. So I don't think I need to apologize for that, because that contract is trash. But one man's trash is another man's treasure, and in Dallas, the player, is treasure. And you see what he did tonight was fantastic. You couple that with what they saw from Maxi Kleber as well. Them dudes are just firing all over him. They spread the floor out in such a way that Utah just could not seem to adjust to. And a lot of it's just common sense. From my perspective, of course, as a great basketball, couch guy. But like, really though, let's just be real. They ain't doing nothing but shooting threes. Why are you clogging the paint? Why would you give them so much space? You know they ain't doing nothing but shooting. And the thing about the guys that they have shooting respectively, with the exception of course, the guards, they're not ball handlers. So they're not really a threat to take the ball off the dribble and do anything really too serious. Guys like Maxi Kleber, they want to shoot the three. So you crowd them out. You make sure that they don't have an opportunity to do that. And I just didn't see any adjustment defensively to assure that they guarded that perimeter with respect to what it is that was happening to them. So, Quinn Snyder, I'm not pleased with what I'm seeing. As a Laker fan who's looking to scout what type of coaches I want, I'm I feel pretty good about you saying you don't want to coach my team, looking at how this thing is going. Yes, is your teams, constructed in such a way that it would be difficult to get the most out of it? Sure. But can I find any good logical reason for some of the stuff that I'm seeing down there defensively? No. Line your players up better so they can defend what it is that's happening to them. And for God's sakes, play Nickeil Alexander-Walker. You may not know this, but he is one of your very best players. Like, literally. He is, as far as I can tell, probably your third best player. And you're not using him. And if there's nothing wrong with his health, then you're severely managing his value. I don't know what the word would be, but his value is so much greater than what it is that you guys you have it as, pretty much, is what I'm trying to say. He's better than that, and it's you guys that are showing that you suck and should be sacked, not him. The choice to sit him is a sucky choice. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know if I can be more clear about it. So, there's that. I think D-Wade needs to just go in there and just blow that thing up, bro. Danny Ainge, D-Wade, blow it up, bro. Send that roster to oblivion. There should be a player on every roster represented from this team this year. I don't think you should keep anybody but maybe Jordan Clarkson and Donovan Mitchell, if he would be so kind as to stick with y'all. That should be the only thing left. Everybody else got to go. Seriously. You know what I mean? Because it's that bad at this point. You see the type of performances they put on in these playoffs this year. You see the performances they've put in the previous years. You see how they've regressed so badly in very key areas. Areas that they once basically dominated in. Defense and three-point shooting. Now they're one of the worst defensive teams left in the playoffs, and now they don't even want to shoot a three-point shot. I mean, it's just bad. Watching those highlights, watching as much of that game as I could manage to, given that I was watching the other game as well, it was just not, it wasn't right for those fans to have to come out there with that type of energy, expecting to win a playoff game, knowing that the best player from the other team wasn't there, and to just get that type of performance. I don't blame them for booing, and they were booing, but I'd have been booing too. As I told you guys yesterday in the video, we talked about the Jazz. I said that team reminds me of my team. They remind me of the Lakers, this year's Lakers. They just did not have it. It seems that it starts with the schemes, and then from there, the players are frustrated with that. That's what it looks like from afar. Because the way they were lined up down there trying to guard, it was like they didn't know what the heck they were doing. And it just makes me very curious to wonder how the heck they got here. Like, how did they win this many games to find themselves with the 5th spot in the Western Conference? I don't know how did you get here? You know what I mean? Because every time I saw them in the regular season, they played like this. It's just as bad as they played tonight against Dallas. They played against the Lakers. So it's like, I never seen Utah actually play well this season. I don't know how they're here. Did the referees just, give them every game? How the hell are they here? It's that bad, y'all. Their defense is bad. Their offense is bad. Just bad. So, congratulations to the Dallas Mavericks for entertaining us tonight and ultimately, catching this very easy series for themselves. As I said, at the beginning of these playoffs, after Luka Doncic went down, that these two were the two teams that all the teams in the Western Conference want to face. And they just so happened to face one another. And I felt that would be a very good thing for both of these teams because one of them was going to capitalize. And obviously that was the Dallas Mavericks. I guessed wrong. I said Utah in 6, and that could still very well actually happen. I've seen stranger things, especially with the presence of COVID protocol. Never forget, it's around. But the way Jalen Brunson's balling, Spencer Dinwiddie dunking on people and stuff. Davis Bertans is looking like Reggie Miller. Maxi Kleber playing like Peja Stojakovic. I mean, what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? What are you going to do? I like what I'm seeing from Josh Green. He looks really good out there. He's starting to develop. And, that's a player that they drafted about 3 years ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago or something like that. But he's come along, one of the players that they've had for a little bit now that I think has some upside. And for him to get some playoff experience is good. So I like seeing that. Yeah, man. Spencer Dinwiddie needs his credit, man. Needs his credit. That dude's coming back from that knee injury, kind of bounced around a little bit. People was talking about his name kind of funny earlier in the year with Washington, saying that he needs to, shut up or something. Someone said, how that goes. Locker room talk is their business. But at the end of the day, he got out of that situation, found himself in Dallas. And I'll tell you this, he's right back where he started back in Brooklyn before that injury. He looks great. You know what I mean? You got to give that man credit. I don't know if Dallas is where he's going to end up landing. I think he's probably going to end up leaving there and going somewhere else. But I think he's earned himself a starting spot in this league, and he's going to be competitive, man. That's a very competitive player. So, yeah, give him his props. And, of course, Jalen Brunson, man. Jalen Brunson is just showing us. And I joked about this, but I said he's better than anybody wants him to be. Like, you playing too good, bro. You're not supposed to be this good. And that's essentially what this is. Jalen Brunson is just telling all of us that he's the next player that Dallas can look forward to having to pay. Simple as that. You know what I mean? He ain't playing around. He's coming for his. And like his father, he believes in himself, and he's going to play hard out here. And I think he's a much better player than his pops. I watched his pops play a little bit back in the day, and this dude is more of a leading player, I think, in his own respect. He can drop 40 on you. He can get multiple rebounds, multiple assists. He can do some things defensively. And that tells me he's basically a complete player. And some of the shots that he was hitting out there weren't easy shots to make. So this is a talented person. And the NBA is going to have to deal with him. You know what I mean? Simple as that. You can't look at him as a role player. No matter how much you want Luka Doncic to keep the ball in his hands 80% of the time, you're going to have to let him get it. He's going to have to get his touches. You know what I'm saying? It's that simple. So that's what I mean by that. Nobody wants him to be this good, because if he's this good, that means you got to get the ball out of Luka's hands and put it in his. And I don't think they want to do that. But he's that good. So that's what's up. Anyway, so I expect the Dallas Mavericks to keep on rolling. I don't feel comfortable about my Jazz and 6 pick. I really don't. I know this is a business where you're supposed to stick to your picks. Me flip-flopping in the past has never worked. So, I'll stand on that and just await being wrong, I guess is the best way to play it. But that's how I feel, man. I don't feel good about that pick. At this point, Dallas should take control of the series from here. They should. And they should not bring Luka back either. Absolutely not. I see no fruit in doing that. You're going to need him for the rest of the playoffs. And it looks like you're moving on. Plus, bringing him back could actually disrupt things. You know I stand firm on that. I talk about that all the time. So don't let that happen to you. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Let these guys cook. They got Utah's number. Make Utah prove they can beat those guys before you grace them with the presence of the great Luka Doncic. That's how I feel about that. So, yeah, this is turning out to be a little bit of a surprise for me. But all in all, like I said, these are the two teams everybody wanted to face based on their circumstances. And, you'll see Utah make some changes, I'm sure. Because if they try running back with this team next year, I don't even think they're going to make the playoffs. I'm just going to keep it real with y'all. So that's what I got, man. My name is BDF44. I thank y'all for watching.